Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
I feel like dressing up there and put on something special. Hi, everybody. How are you? Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. And I, of course, am your host, Lauren Michaels Harris. Today I have, is today the last day? No, tomorrow's the last day. Petey the Pride Bear. Say hello. Say good morning, Petey. Good morning, Petey. Oh, okay, stay over here. Behave yourself. We're here on the 29th day of June, and I don't think I'd rather be anywhere else in the universe, except maybe Fiji, than here right now with all of you. What happens when we come together like this? We're first and foremost, the main thing that happens is together we fulfill the promise wherein two or more of us come together. Something wonderful is definitely going to happen. It happens every day, Monday through Friday, right here when we come in to convene, to pour into each other, to be poured into, and to just get it done. Can I get an amen? Okay, so yeah, I've already been told I'm looking a little bright today, and who's got a problem with that? Anyway, I just felt this way today. I'm so excited about my guest, as always, who's here. He's done so much to change mindsets within me as far as scarcity and just understanding the value of what I do. And so I just love this guy, and I can't wait to get into it. Let's see. What did I want to chit chat about today? Oh, I know. Remember yesterday how I came in here, right? I had my red pen out. Well, to be honest, clear, I was pissed off, right? Remember? And I was talking about how I had worked with this person in Europe for like 6 weeks. Yesterday we were signing the deal. where I was going to work with this company for a minimum of 3 months. And it's, you know, kind of pricey, but I felt everything in me. It felt everything up to that 5-minute conversation yesterday. No questions, none at all. So after I had my thing, because it was about, I'll tell you guys what it was about. The company was like, they brought in their Christian values in the 11th hour. Oh, we just need an extra 5 minutes before we send the contract over. That's how it was thrown at me. So I get on thinking it's some other, and they're like, you know, we love everything and blah, 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 but that LGBT piece, our Christian values just don't allow, you know, I told you all about it. Well, you know, okay, you already know where I went. Excuse me? Right. And they picked the wrong month, right? You should have waited till July 1st, at least. But anyway, here's how it all turned out, or where it's at right now. All day long, I could not shake it because I knew all along. I mean, I kept telling my husband, Brian, and I was like, I cannot believe I can. Words that deceive. I cannot believe that. That may be where I screwed up, went south. It was just so amazing. There, that's better. How it just felt right. And this guy could see my vision. It was like, it was just incredible. And so those things kept coming through. And for the first time, I don't know when, a long time. And I'm not happy and not proud about that. First time where I was like, okay, let me see. Let me walk around this thing. You hear me always say, look at everything and do it from top to bottom, bottom to top, side to side, side to side, corner to corner, and corner to corner. And when I used that on myself, I was like, wait a minute. I know this feeling. How many times in your life, Lauren, has it gone right up to the 11th hour, just like it did yesterday, or today is when it was yesterday, but I was talking about that day. And then later you find out that there was a test in there for you to get a speed bump to get over, to see if you really understood all of those signs you saw leading up to that moment. You know, the thing about the truth is that it never changes and it won't change on us. And when I looked at it from that perspective, through that lens yesterday, I had to admit, how do I know, is it worth it just to let pride get in the way and never really find out why it was so important for some negativity to try to hop in at its last chance and do what it did, or do what it thought it did, because I've already done fixed that. But anyway, what could be so important that something wanted to do this to keep this from happening? Soon as I looked at it that way, I was like, okay, Cletus, trick no good. You can walk over, but you crawling back, okay? And I chopped them legs off all the way up to the pelvis. Sure did. And now that person and I have been going back and forth, and I just simply asked, has something been working in you since our thing yesterday? Have you been able to just let it go and go, oh, well? And he said, no. And so right now we're at the point where we're like, you know what? Well, we owe it to ourselves and to the world, because this is not about either one of us. This is about everything that we've been created to do for everyone else. And I had to ask myself, because, you know, I've been getting the download for quite a while now, where I've been hearing nearly every day, I hear somewhere within my spirit, Lauren, make sure that everything you do means something. Because if it doesn't, there's no way it can ever be meaningful for someone else. And so when I looked at it again through that lens, I said, you know what? The only part of that sequence that I really didn't mean was that last 5 minutes yesterday. So I went back in, and I don't know what the end result will be, but it will be better than what it was yesterday. And that's what I want you guys to take from this. No matter what it looks like at the time or even immediately following, no matter what, find within every experience that thing known as great, and then commit to yourself and to what is greater than, to take great to greater, bright to brighter, strong to stronger, nice to nicer. There you go. There's the bell of purpose. You know what it means when you hear it ring. Pick up something. Something's going on. There's a golden egg laying out there, and it's got your name all over it. So pay attention, lean in, get involved today. This is a place where we come together to pour into each other. Like I said earlier, and today's no exception. at this time every day, I ask you to help me welcome to the stage my sidekick. She's been with me all 5 years of Bathrobe Moments. She's my bestie. This is Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo, and we're drinking on something. I should have brought the bag in here. It's called, get this, I don't know who, somebody gets paid to come up with these coffee names. I'm gonna start coming up with some. Lord. Stoffel waffle or something like that. It's got waffle in it. And I don't know. Maybe I should pour some syrup in it because it don't taste nothing like a waffle. Anyway, today we have Dr. Robert GARCIA here. Many of you know him. He's been here before. And even if you hadn't seen him here, you had to have seen him somewhere. Or else I beg the question, where in the world have you been? What rock have you been hiding under? Dr. GARCIA is also known worldwide as the warrior strategist. He is just an incredible person. I've never, ever in all my days, before what I do and during this season of my life, have I ever worked with anybody who just like that said something that just clicked inside me and I executed. And I'll take it here and just put it in a nutshell. Told me something about myself, about scarcity mindset. I changed it just a little because I was like, I know what he talking about, right? I ain't trying to go backwards, right? But I did it. And it wasn't even 2 weeks before I opened the floodgates completely. I just opened all the waterways based on what had happened, because what happened is in less than a month, I think he had helped me bring in an additional $14,000. And since then, we're well over the 40,000 mark. And that's a fact. That's the truth. So if you're looking for ways to get out of your way and get on your way with what it is you were put here to do in the first place, then I'd tune in, listen up, and ask questions. Anything, just ask questions. You got him here, do something with it. So without further ado, you know how we do it. Please pour your heart into the conversation today. Put some hearts on the screen as we welcome to the stage my guest today, Dr. Robert GARCIA, also known as the Warrior Strategist. What are you looking around for? I saw you looking around.
What's going on, Lauren? Good morning from San Diego.
Good morning, San Diego. Oh, he had to get that in because it's 6 a.m. there, 6:13. So thank you for getting up early. You all know why. Some of you have been around, and he slept through us one time. Did you sleep through, or did you have a hangover?
Oh, it depends on what night of the week it is. Yeah,
right. Well, we're so glad you're here. There's a lot to talk about. You've got some new exciting things I would like you to share with everybody. That's what got me excited to get you back in here. But just say hello. Tell everybody you said San Diego, but tell everybody what it is you do in San Diego and give them a little backstory about the military side of Dr. Rob that many may not know of.
Oh, yeah, there's so much. All right. I'm a business strategist. First of all, good morning, everybody, and thank you for checking out the show. Lauren is always just such an amazing person to do interviews with. I'm Rob GARCIA, the Warrior Strategist out of San Diego, California, and I teach business strategies for individual experts. I'm also an Air Force reservist, just hit my 20th year, and I run a magazine called Shift Life Design, which is going to be very, very relevant in about 4 weeks.
It's been relative for about, how long has the magazine been in existence?
4 years. January.
I knew it. I was going to say not 4 weeks, but 4 years. It's been relative. And speaking of, kudos and hats off to the dapper looking Nick Valentine of Combat Boxes. You guys might remember Nicky's been here before. I actually had a Combat Box delivered and opened it up right here on the show. So Nick's on your cover. Tell us about this magazine. Why? Tell us what's it take to start a magazine? Why would one start a magazine? And have you ever regretted having this magazine? Because it looks like it's just a crap load of work.
It really is. I came in, Lauren, with no experience, and I was just writing a lot. And I knew that I wanted to celebrate my friends, and I knew I wanted to give the spotlight to people that might not be able to afford like premium PR and media and all that stuff. Because you and I know a ton of talented people who deserve to have their voices heard. You know,
I
Tucker
do.
Bearden, perfect example. All these people out there that could use a little boost or could use some coverage. And my job is to get their stories out to the world. So,
Wait,
yeah,
how do you know Tucker?
his name's on the cover. I knew Tucker. I
Oh,
knew Tucker
you did
a
a book
long
review
time
of
ago,
his.
even before you and I had talked about him.
Really?
Yeah, we reviewed his book in this issue, and so I met Tucker in San Diego once or twice. He visited once. We had a lunch together, and he's a very charismatic young man, and he's got a lot of energy and just a great guy.
Right, on the autistic spectrum, for those of you who don't know. And Tucker, Tucker and I have been involved about 5 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the first person I actually started coaching with. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's always been a tremendous inspiration to me, just showing you really can do anything you want in the world. And you know, he's winning awards over on the East Coast now with Kirby, and just doing great things.
Yeah, and back then, 5 years ago, you know, Tucker was pretty much trapped in his own home through the Asperger's issue, and just books were how he went everywhere, through books and reading. And now he's written one. So let that be a lesson to all of us, or some inspiration, that it doesn't matter what's your situation, you can get through it and get something out of it to serve others.
And now his name's on the cover of a magazine. I mean,
yes,
he's doing well.
Which is wonderful. Yep. So lots of great stuff in here. And this is the May-June, so you have another issue coming out. When can people expect that? And how do they get their hands on it?
They can just go to the website and read it. Here's the best part, Lauren. They can read it for free. I still haven't implemented any type of price. So all you have to do is just pretty much log in, put in a tiny bit of information, and you can read it at shiftlifedesign.com.
Okay, shiftdesign.com. And I threw this long ass link in there for something. I think it took up like this one. But anyway, I didn't want to shorten it because, you know, you take off a percent sign or something crazy and it won't work. So the whole thing is in there for you guys. Click on it after the show and go over and check out all things Dr. Rob. So Rob, let me ask you, what made you want to serve people? And I know, you know, because we have a lot of mutual friends now, many of them I met because of you through the military portal. But why did you decide to go this route? You got a PhD. Why not teach in some university or do something private practice like that? But you chose to serve people in the business world, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and creatives.
For some people, the creative streak is just too strong. It's your calling. You know, I'm not a stuffy academic with the checkered jacket and the, you know, patches on the sleeves and the glasses and everything. I really wanted to be able to just have creative control over my career, and I wanted to teach a global audience. And to be honest, it just the idea of being stuck in a classroom kind of isn't my thing. I want to be able to have freedom, to be able to work with whoever I want to, and to reach a far wider audience. So I just went into business for myself about 4 years ago, teaching business strategies, and became a business educator.
Okay, so you just mentioned something. Let's back the car up if we could. Creative control. I'd like you to talk about that for a minute because it sounds delicious, creative control, but it's something that I don't think a lot of people have actually ordered from the menu. And can you tell us why is that? How come people don't understand what that is?
Yeah, so when you go into an industry, whatever it is you do, for the most part, and I'm going to use education as an example. So if I was a college professor, they'd hand me a textbook. They'd say, hey, you have to teach X, Y, and Z to these kids. You have to teach it exactly like this. Oh, you have no copyright over the material, and we're going to pay you like once. Going into business for myself allows me to keep my own content. It allows me to charge whatever I want. It doesn't cap me at 30 students per semester. And it lets me to be able to make my own rules. I don't have to report to anyone. I can be my own boss. And that is why I love being an educator under my own brand, my own umbrella.
Absolutely. I definitely get that. And I know you guys out there do as well. I remember way back in the 80s when I had the company Apology Accepted back there. I met with a guy named Lou Gernick one day for lunch after he had seen me in one of the newspapers. And he was the founder of Midas Mufflers. And he also went on to start a company called Franchise Business International and franchised Pizza Hut, John Casablanca's, IHOP, those kinds of places. And I remember he said two things to me that I'll never forget. He said, Lauren, one thing is when you work for yourself, the most beautiful part is you finally get to experience what it feels like to be paid retail instead of wholesale. Because he said, if no matter who you're working for, if it's not your name on it, it's not yours, then you're getting paid last, believe it or not. I don't care what they tell you or how many gold watches you get or certificates from them of appreciation that hang on your walls. Your pay is determined after all the bills have been paid, they've been paid, this and the other, and then they say, now how much do we have left to pay our employees? And that's exactly right. And we know that now, those of us who actually have to do that sort of thing. So I'd like it if you could talk about that whole little value piece as far as paying ourselves what we're worth. Where do you think people get mixed up or off track the most as far as understanding where the true value within the brand lies?
Yeah, people get caught up in a couple things, and when I talk to people about pricing, it's always an ingrained money issue that either comes from childhood. So if they grew up poor like me, well, not poor, but we'll just say without a lot of money in the house. I was never poor. I just there wasn't money, there wasn't flow of money. We'll say, but if they grew up without a lot of money, they might have a scarcity mindset where they're going to hoard all their money and they're not going to invest in anything and they're not going to spend. And they think of money as a finite and limited resource. But when you can overcome that and you can realize that money is just energy and it's just a reflection of how well you do your job, or monetize your skill set, then it becomes a whole different animal. And so that's sometimes where the scarcity mentality comes from. It also comes, and this is, can I share the advice I gave to you that you were talking about?
Yeah, I was going to bring it up next.
Yeah, it's
let me set it up.
Sure.
Let me tell him what was happening right before these jewels flowed out of his treasure box. Ooh, that was quite a visual. I'm just I'll be glad when Pride month is over. Because some of the filters just, I don't know where they went. I hope they come back July 1st. But anyway, I remember we were working on the build out of my process with the masterminds, and it was about my online free one, but that was to get us to the part where I could bring it once we got out of COVID, which we're now doing, and I'm actually about to kick that off, by the way, locally, an in-person small group, no more than 10 people. But I was trying to set the pricing, and you literally said, "Okay, Lauren, I'm gonna throw these figures out there because I don't remember what the exact ones were. I think you said somewhere between $500 and $750 per month." And as you said it, now I'm poised, everybody, ready. I'm taking notes all along copiously. And as the numbers were coming out of his mouth, when he said 500 to 750, I wrote 300 to 175 to 300 or something like that. It was like half. And I was looking at the paper like, what the hell? What made me? And I asked you, and then you said,
I said, the biggest thing is that we price to what we can afford at the time and what we're comfortable affording at the time, subconsciously. And let me tell you,
it's really bad news for a cheap ass like me.
Yeah, that was the fastest raise you ever heard.
I ain't trying to pay a quarter. Right. But it worked.
Yeah.
Because then I started looking at how important the things were to me and why they were important to me at the time. And this is what I love about it. The situation I mentioned when you were in the green room with the systems consulting company. It's quite a investment, but it made perfect sense to me. So it didn't feel like I ain't paying all that. But the thing is, a lot of us get the stuff out of order. Now let's talk about this. Why do so many, even people that just go to events like the ones we attend or throw or host ourselves, people go to events, spend a lot of money, get a nice swag bag or something, meet a lot of people, have some great dinners, make a few connections, go home, and nothing ever changes. I call them event groupies, but we can be a groupie. We can do that, have that same mindset within our own brand. Whereas we're doing a lot of little things, but none of them are adding up anywhere. They're not converting. They're not monetizing. What is your recommendation to people? When is it smart to start understanding when and where you're going to turn whatever you're doing into profit? And there's a difference between income and profit.
Yeah. That time comes when you become good at solving someone's problem. When you can solve a problem 80% of the time, I would say, just, rough estimate. But when somebody comes to you and says, I have this problem, whatever it is, and if your zone of genius, your skill set can solve that problem 80% of the time, it's time to monetize. It's time to turn it into something, and it's time to charge a premium price. I'm not just talking a price. I'm talking a premium price because you could solve it reliably. Mm-hmm. That's when.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Now I'm gonna shift it a little bit because there's a lot of us who have listened to some of the rooms on Clubhouse. Let's use Clubhouse for instance. And are you familiar with it?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So for instance, I'll go in there. I basically try to stay like a fly on the wall. I'm learning how to critically think or critically listen better. Critically think. Yeah, right. Yeah, my brain flatlined a long time ago. Clear. So anyway, but what gets me is, let me just put it this way. What is the mindset? Because I need to know. I really do. When people oversell themselves, I this and I that and I this and I that and I that and it just goes on and on and on. And then you go over to check them out and you don't see any footprints. You see no social proof. You don't see any engagement. What is that? Where people would rather spend the time they have when someone they're bending someone's ear and they really have their attention and they could convert. There could be a potential client there, but they want to Marsha, look at me, and not just really throw out there. Let's talk about that. What is the process? I call it dropping the breadcrumbs. When you're telling about yourself, you're establishing authority, but you're also putting out there some of the pieces that lead them to what you want them to know about, i.e. your offer. People don't know. A lot of people have things to offer, but they don't know how to get people to open the box and try a piece.
It is far more important to be able to describe the results your clients get versus the things you've done. And at that point, that's when people will follow. I can sit here and talk all day long about the achievements that I've done or been on TV or the award I won or all this stuff. But what people really want to hear that will attract them naturally to me is hearing about how I got Green Beret Chris McPhee 9 interviews in 10 days, or how I got, veteran woodworker Kurt Balish like 4 major media interviews and features for his company, Balish Woodworks. It is far more important to be able to deliver and tell those results of the people you've worked with versus accolades about yourself.
So testimonials. Oh yeah. Yeah. How important. And you use, and those of you who follow Rob or work or have worked with Rob, this is true. You have no problem reaching out and asking people that have actually lived the experience with you and profited from it to tell people their experience, and with no prompting, say this, here's the script, excuse me. You just, I understand that it's a necessary thing. You have no problem with it. I forget to do it a lot unless it's built into like the Elevate Masterclass. They have a review program built in, but I never thought about getting testimonials on even like what I consider the smaller parts of the brand, say the mastermind. Mm-hmm. Why haven't I gotten people to go on that page? I have a page that attend week after week and, speak about their experience. Why is that? And there's part 2 to that. Why, or what is it? How do we, like, say, for instance, I experienced something with you, like I did. Is it okay for us to just go out there and say, listen, y'all need to, let me tell you about Dr. Rob. So I consider that being of service to people, to really let people know. Because yesterday or day before yesterday, when I was looking for a graphic artist for that ad for Heart of Hollywood magazine, I put it in several places. This taught me a lot about the people sitting in the front row seat of my life, seriously, because Marty Martinez and James Felt and you all came chiming immediately about William. And when you did that, I immediately cut off I didn't even go look at the other places I dropped, lures in the water, and got on the call with him yesterday. And he said, I want to work with you long-term. He just did everything right. And then he said, well, I'm so grateful for this opportunity. I said, let me tell you something. I already know what you are and what you're capable of, because the people that you said inspire you are the people that inspire me. And so when it came through that door, there was no question. And I really feel that's a big key for a lot of us, about having people in our front row seats that they don't have a death grip on great resources. They're not so intimidated, or a lot of people, I can't give up my source, or something like you work for TMZ or something, so, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of people talk about that, because a lot of people feel like, well, I just see it like this. Nobody can have my blessings and I can't take anybody else's. So what am I worried about? Talk about being of service as far as connecting, because there's a difference between what we just described, which you help people do, as opposed to networking. Going through the motions is a lot of networking. This is more like working your net.
Yeah, I'll tell you something about that story in particular. The reason that Will came to mind immediately, I could have suggested any number of graphic artists in my network, but Will, I've vetted, I've worked with him numerous times. He's always delivered 150%. And it just, not only that, I mean, he's just got an amazing story, and he's a former U.S. Marine, and he was a
chaplain.
His backstory is crazy. But all these things factor into, what a great man Will is. And so that's why. And first of all, I appreciate the fact that when James and Marty and I reach out and we all have this same amazing recommendation, you're like, okay, line's closed. That's it.
Done.
This is my guy. I got to find out what the buzz is about, because this Air Force guy and these two crazy Rangers recommending him.
And here's the deal. 2 hours after our call, I had pretty much the finished product. I just have to write a little copy for the bottom third, and it's done. I sent it to the publisher of the magazine, and she goes, oh my God, so artistic. Love it. Boom, done. Now, let's talk about that. Because that is a thing that happens from building the right type of relationships across the board, not just for that one-time thing you need someone for. Let's talk about that. Going into the original sit down, virtual coffee, whatever it may be, where let's get to know each other and see if there's some synergy. Let's talk about the difference between building a relationship wide, roots that are wide, opposes deep. And what I say is wide. When I was in multi-level with Herbalife, there were people who I called them retail whores. The only time they called their clients, their downline, was when it was time to get those orders in to qualify for something at the end of the month. They didn't go and there was nothing else that poured into people without there being a price tag, no value, no added value that doesn't cost. How important is it, the building of those deep relationships, and how far ahead should we be looking as we build them? I mean, do you really want to build a relationship based on, well, I might need it's a fine line for some people. Talk about that and how you go about it and how you suggest your clients do it.
Yeah, it's a matter of connecting on a deeper level in the sense of, do you see them as just kind of this person that can do something for you, or do you see them as someone that is in your circle of trust, your inner network, right? Like I know spouses, I know people's hobbies, I know who just moved recently, Annette Wittenberger. I know all these people and what they're doing, because they're in the circle of trust. They act a certain way. I know I can rely on them. You're one of those people, clearly. And I know that they're not going to act a fool if I need to bring them in on a deal, or, I can trust them at a certain level. And so those are the types of relationships you want to build. You want to cut people when you need to, if you see behavior that's not, in alignment with your brand, and you want to only take the very best.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Because, okay, next one before we go to commercial break. Talk about the people who get burned. You know, they don't do enough due diligence, they are not patient enough, they jump at the first thing, or they see something other, they see what they want as the end game and not what they need. And then when they do find someone, like all the people that I've met through you, they question them, or they do the suspicious eyebrow in the wrong direction, because they drag, I'm still smelling the smoke on your body from being burned. Who's been in a fire? You know what I mean? And the person that is really there for them, the right one, many times gets passed over because they're paying the price for that last experience. How do we cut those ties with those bad experiences, extract the lesson from it to make us better business people next? How do we do that?
I just had a deal like this I had to walk away from. And I mean, almost exactly. You don't even know these people, and you just described it perfectly. And so what happened was we were trying to sell services to a company. They'd put a lot, like over 6 figures, into a certain type of services company before. They got burned severely, and it was constantly being mentioned on the calls. It was constantly being mentioned in meetings, and so at a certain point, I realized a lot of it was being projected forward, and we were just catching that, that bird poop being flung at the fan. And at that point, I realized that so much of that anger was being brought forward and projected at us that it wasn't going to be a good fit. And these were friends, so I didn't want to, we walked away amicably. We laughed about it, but I was very upfront, Lauren. I was real proud of myself because for once in my life, I was mature. I just said, hey, I love you guys and what you're doing, but it's clear that this past deal has kind of soured you on this whole experience. We're not going to be the right fit. We're not going to be in alignment for this deal, but we could still walk away as friends. And everybody was cool. We kept the relationship, but it just wasn't the right time. And that's part of being, being able to analyze when people are going to work together well or not.
Absolutely. That synergy piece is everything. It's the launch pad or the bottomless pit. It's one or the other. When we come back from this short commercial break, I'd like to continue in the same vein that we're in right now and go a little deeper into some of the red flags that we should look for within our businesses and our business relationships. Those things that we feel the elbow of purpose nudging us that says maybe, no matter how long or how far we're in it, down the rabbit hole, it could be time to cut bait and run. How do we know those flags and what to do about it? That and more when we come back.
People, when they're trying to really get focused and productive, to ignore the hey bros because they're low priority. Get your motivation, create your checklist, and then that's the formula, man.
Okay, and we're back with the warrior strategist, Dr. Robert Garcia from San Diego, California. And before break, we were talking about red flags, and it kind of ties into like what you just described you had to do with that other company. And then let's talk about, I was talking about my situation with the company yesterday where I thought, okay, yeah, cut bait and run, and then had a second thought to go back because maybe I was a bit hasty. So what do you, what do you recommend and where do we go? How much time and what do we listen to? Which one of the voices? Shut up, I'm talking. Anyway, that was one of the 8, but you know what I mean. Which one of the voices? Because self-talk can be very dangerous and it can be very, very advantageous. How do you suggest to your clients they go about critically listening to their heart and making the right choices when it just doesn't feel right?
Yeah, it's important to know where your standards and values lie. And so first of all, there are major character flaws that you should really look for whenever you're vetting new clients or meeting new people. And there's certain things that I won't stand for. And I had to restart my Facebook profile, my friends list, all this stuff because, something happened and not everyone made the list the second time around. And so for me personally, I cut out everybody that was misogynistic. If they're making jokes about women or they don't employ women or they just have these weird, issues. I cut out people that were obviously that had racial overtones, that were hostile towards other races or, made a lot of jokes that weren't really conducive to business at all.
Really?
Just anyone that's got hate in their heart for certain groups. If you're demonizing certain groups, whatever reason, it's just not going to work with me. This company clearly that you dealt with, and I hadn't even heard that story before this morning. I was just blown away. This company obviously is not going to be a good fit. I'm shocked that they didn't do enough research on you to know this is, this part of your life. It's not like you can turn off.
They did know.
And yeah,
we talked about Brian, we talked about all of it. And my thing was, I was like, wait a minute. What can I tell you what really offended me was that they thought that piece, that conversation, first of all, you chose the 11th hour and then you boxed it into a 5 and we only need 5 minutes. What in the world made you think that you could throw that in? Okay, anyway, so I'll see you on that side. See you inside. Like, it was like, and I'm like, wait a minute, but in those situations, Rob, there is a difference between reaction and responding. Reaction, there's a reason it's called knee jerk, and responding gives you enough time to step away, which is what happened with me yesterday. So there are those times though, because now they're like, listen, we think we presented it wrongly, and that's what they started explaining. And the thing about it is, I know that this person is the best. I know it through my spirit, my soul, that it is, I gotta have this. So it really forced the microscope, if you will, the magnifying glass back on myself. So let's talk about that. What's the correlation in your opinion, Rob? Because you're highly educated and you work with such a variety of personalities. What is that mindset? What is that thing that, how do we learn to get out of our own ways and not make business decisions based on emotions, but more based on feelings? Because I think a lot of us consider those two things to be synonymous, and they are not.
Yeah.
Feelings versus emotions.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, your feelings are your intuition, your spiritual guidance, your universal direction.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas your emotions, like you said, your knee-jerk reactions, like does this make you angry? Does it make you fearful? Does it make you anxious? And that's the real difference. And if you trust intuition and you trust what your soul and your essence tells you when you're looking at a business deal or a transaction, you're going to be okay. But if you're quick to get angry, or you're quick to get defensive, or you're quick to blame the other person, that's emotion.
Exactly. And I had to learn that the hard way because that was me. I'm just keeping it real. It was like somebody dipped me in some emotional poop, seriously. But then I learned that it was so clear when I got the download that, Lauren, there's a difference between feelings and emotions. First of all, feelings get hurt. Emotional decisions usually do the hurting. When you're emotional, when you say things you regret, when you say things that aren't even true, and all that stuff, because just like in the 4 agreements, be impeccable with your word, don't take things personally, don't make assumptions, and that's the only way you can get to that end point, which is always doing your best. So let's switch gears here if we could, and let's talk about this new program you have. What are the components? Who's it for? I know you've been quite successful.
Tactical CEQ. I'd love to talk about it. And thank you, Lauren. So a couple years ago, I was driving, and I just had this revelation that
get over there.
Popular people do better in business. Being the popular kid is the way to go. And being an expert is just beating your head into a brick wall because you're competing against the other experts. And I thought, okay, what 4 things make someone popular? What 4 things make someone visible? And Tactical CEQ was born. And it's right there in the screen. Creating powerful social media, getting media interviews, recruiting celebrities to make partnerships with your business, and then teaching your industry. If you apply these 4 things to a business or a person, you're going to make them popular.
So on the create powerful social media piece, talk about that. What about, because I've seen, some people think that powerful means putting a lot of money into, say, a digital content place to create all these great memes and stuff, and their pages look great. But then when you look at, there's no conversation. There's no engagement. Zero. Talk about what is it? What is that piece that makes social media powerful?
Strategy. And so what you're talking about is creation of social media, and you can hire anybody to create your social media. It's not something that's hard to do to create graphics. But the thing is, strategy is what takes it to that next level. Is it eye-catching? Does it have a message? Does it position you as an expert? Does it identify a problem that your audience is going through? Does it show proof of concept that whatever you're selling is the right thing to solve this problem, right? Does it have statistics? Does it have case studies? These are all strategic questions we ask ourselves in social media. It's not enough to have a picture of you smiling at the camera and your logo in the corner, right? A lot of people assume that's it. If I put that out there, that's my brand and people will buy. Well, it's not. Strategic social media and powerful social media is about creating social media that catches the eye of your audience, and it consistently displays you as the solution to a problem.
Okay. So based on what you've just said, I'd like to touch on this subject. I always say to people, especially in particular my coaching clients, that I'm on them. I'm stalking all their pages. Even the stuff that they allow people to share onto their pages. And why? It's because, I feel, some people just post. They think that, well, I post every day and I do it at 4 p.m. and at 6 a.m. and all these times. I used to write hashtags, blah, blah, blah. But there's no conversation. There's no message. And I always say this, I go on people's pages that I follow to get my bread, to be fed, to pick up some content that's got some nourishment, some value in it. But when you go to a lot of pages, you find what I feel is the equivalent of 0-calorie content. It's the equivalent of offering someone a plate of styrofoam. No taste, no smell, no color, no nothing. So how do people go? How do you know when your content is landing, it's resonating, that it is being pursued as valuable to the audience?
When it brings people around to open up discussions, and then it keeps going to where you're coming back, you're talking to them, you're asking some questions, because the 4-step process is attract, connect, create, value, sell. If you follow that, you'll see a massive influx in your sales, right? And people get it messed up. They put something out there and they do attract a few people, but they never take the time to actually connect. So if I ask a question or I start a discussion on social media and somebody, people start responding, I'm going to ask them further questions to get to know them, like in a sincere way. It's just how I operate, because I want to know about their beagle or their kid or, their funniest relative or something. And that way I get to know them on a more personal level. And that's how we get to that next level. And then after that, we've connected with them. So then we create value. And then maybe we'll send them a ebook or a freebie or something, or tickets to a webinar or something. Mm-hmm. And then at that point, they feel comfortable buying from you if they have the problem that your solution fixes.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. What about this? Mission statements, vision statements. How important are those for a brand to have? And what do we do with them once we have them? I mean, a lot of people have them. They may be on the front cover of an employee handbook or something, or somewhere in the guidelines or whatever it is. If they have, if it's a nonprofit, in the all the stuff that's in there. But how important is it to have that in place when you're starting a new business, so that people clearly understand your vision? So take that. That's part one. And then part two is, how short should the response be when someone asks us, hey, what do you do for a living? I'm getting out of here on that one.
The mission and vision statement are very important because they reflect your messaging and your cultural values. And it goes a lot further than just using corporate buzzwords like, inclusivity or diversity. Those are good things to have, obviously, but for a company today, you need to really have a message, a vision statement, a mission statement that tell people immediately what you guys are about and what they can expect dealing with your company. And for the second part, talking about, what was the question again, Lauren? The second one? The
second one was about, oh Lord, you asked me. I have them change the sheets in those rooms the minute I throw the question out. Look, I ain't have many rooms left.
How short should it be? What do you
when someone asks you, because I'm not kidding you. I asked a girl I went to an in-person mastermind last week, and I asked the girl, so what do you do? 2 drinks later, I still didn't know. Yeah. And she was still telling me.
Yeah. She hasn't pared down her exact journey, what she does. And so, and it took me a while to get here too, because what I do
is about that. It's a speed bump. A lot of us can't get over too fast.
I'll show you the template that Sean Douglas taught me, and it's very good. When somebody asks me that question, yeah.
You knew Sean too. Yes, he just retired.
Yeah, he taught me an amazing way of looking at this very question. And so when somebody asks me, I say, I take experts and convert them into highly visible industry leaders. That's it.
There you go.
Very simple, right? And so what Sean taught me is to identify who it is that you serve, what you do for them, and then a little bit of how you do it. And if you have those 3 things, you got a good statement. And when somebody asks you what you do.
Perfect. Oh, Tucker's here. I didn't know that. Hi, Tucker. So, do you encounter that a lot, that people don't know how to answer that question? I hear people in Clubhouse say, I've seen actual rooms in there, how to tell people what you do in 10 words or less. Is that a rule?
It's, 15 seconds should be the most. You should be very comfortable and very versed when somebody asks you. You shouldn't look like a deer in the headlights, because it doesn't give confidence in what you're doing.
Right. Okay. Let me think here, because there's so much I want to ask, but I want to make sure I'm getting those main things in. Okay. Let's talk about this. We're coming out of COVID. Mm-hmm. Can you tell people some of the benefits of being in business right now, or planning on starting a business fairly soon, let's say within the rest of the year, Q3 and 4? Any pitfalls that you think people should avoid because things have changed because of COVID, or are new startups pretty much able to do the same things as they did, say, 2 years ago?
I feel like people are going to enter a renaissance, an enlightened period post-COVID, because they've learned that, oh, hey, we can do our jobs from home. We can set up home offices. We can start businesses, because a lot of people had to start hustles to bring in money. I was very fortunate through COVID because my stuff had already been developed. My audience was there. I never had any fears of running out of money, but I worked really hard to, be stable.
Right.
But a lot of people will look at this, and they should look at this as a time where success is right there. Jump into it. There's a lot more creatives out there. There's a lot more people that started their home-based business, or a lot more people that are comfortable working from home, and they're looking at entrepreneurship in a new light. Just because, so many people had to leave the office and set up their laptop at home, and then now they can raise their families and do all this stuff, but they also had to start side gigs to bring in some money.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's positive.
So final question, Dr. Rob, in your opinion, if someone were to ask you the $1 million question, which is, in your opinion, what do you say truly puts the light on you, say, now you look and you go, now there is a successful business? What is that? What is the thing that makes a business successful? Is it one thing, or is it a plethora of others? A lot of people will tell you income, money, revenue, all that stuff. The one word I always use is impact.
I know a business is successful if it serves its community, if it serves its industry, if it serves its if it affects industry. Think about what that means, Lauren. Like, bigger picture, it means that if a company is in a certain industry, like Kurt Balish at Balish Woodworks, and they can affect the woodworking industry, right? Or Crystal Miller with her swings, and she can affect the swing industry.
Yes.
Right? That is a successful business when they become the disruptor, the innovator, the standard, right? That's a successful business.
Right. And it doesn't mean that they have to be number one in the market share right then, but it means they have something that is, because I believe what you said, that is the slinky that of purpose that just, it just keeps going one end over the other, so that when you finish one opportunity, it creates multiple others, and you just moving along. Okay. Yeah. So how do people get their hands on this course? Where do they go? I know we have where is it? Oh, tell me.
So I sent you a short link, but if somebody wants to get in on the Tactical CEQ course, they want to learn social media, attracting celebrities, teaching their industry. Today's the last day to get the beta price of only $59 one time. It's not even a subscription. It's just one time.
That's awesome.
They can just reach out to me on Facebook personally, on Robert GARCIA or Rob the Warrior Strategist on my personal page. Just hit me up on Messenger, and I will extend that price. And it is a very robust class. It's some of my best things from the last 4 years.
Well, there you go. And I mean, I tell you guys, a $59 investment. I already told you on the front end of the interview what Rob did for me in just a couple weeks, and it's only gotten better since then. But remember, the true value is within your story. It is priceless. Everything you've lived has set you up to be the authority you are today. Wear and bear your scars proudly, because behind every single one of them, number one, first, you see immediate proof of healing. And who doesn't want to know about that, right? And secondly, the more you share your scars and stories, you'll start seeing that there is that heart back there behind every scar. It came riding sidecar with whatever caused the scar, but it is there, and it is a heart. It's just waiting for us to give it permission to beat by telling our stories. So take that with you. Join me tomorrow. Guess what? She was here last week as the Oracle, but this time, for the first time, I'm bringing back my good friend, Dominique Rivera, as just her. Dominique Rivera. No oracle, no readings, no angel numbers. We're going to talk about her backstory and some of the things that she's had to deal with, and in some ways still is, that might surprise you. That and more tomorrow. So meet me out front on the front porch at 8 a.m. and we'll do it, God willing, one more time. Tomorrow is my last day before vacation. I'm going to show 2 interviews that I pre-recorded for Thursday and Friday, and then reruns next week. But it'll be the best of the best. So I'll be in the Carolinas going live every day because I want you with me. I have anxiety with separation, and I don't want to spend a day away from all of you. Rob Garcia, Warrior Strategist, always a pleasure. Thank you again for getting up so early and coming in and pouring into us, and letting us pour into you. What a golden opportunity this was. Lots of nuggets, as always. Thank you so much. Anything you'd like to say as we get out of here?
Just believe in yourself and help people. That's it.
There you go. You guys, if you get an opportunity, I highly recommend you check out everything. Design Your Paycheck is on Facebook. Design Your Own Paycheck on Facebook. Dr. Rob, the Warrior Strategist. You can find him. If you can't, holler at me and I'll get you in the right direction. Get out there today and be the blessing that you'd like to receive. Be the gift that you'd like to give. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Be good to yourselves and be even better to others. Bye-bye. Thanks, Rob.
Before you get it, baby, show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. But you